Hello, everyone. This is Felipe the Revamper Barganier. Not a vampire, revamper. But you're probably like, what is a revamper? Well, a revamper is somebody that is a master of turning lemons into lemonade. One day I woke up and I had this feeling that I was just done. That I needed to make a profound change in my life. Something in my spirit was telling me to take a 21-day fast. I was depleted, and I knew that the relationship that I was in wasn't healthy. It wasn't healthy for me. It wasn't healthy for her. And that something needed to be done. So I embarked on this fast, and the fast was what I call a clarity fast. A clarity fast is a fast where you are looking for clarity in whatever areas of your life. And at that point in time in my life, I was looking for clarity in relationships, clarity into my business decisions, and just clarity in my life in general. And one of the biggest things that I needed to know was who was for me and who was against me. So I asked God, the universe, whatever you believe in, to remove those things that were in my life that were not for me, and to replace those things that are for me in my life. I also asked that anything of me that was not good be removed from me, because I wanted to make sure that I was being the best version of myself. The epitome of Felipe the Revamper Barganier. So one of the first things that happened was that something in my spirit told me to go to my partner at the time, my wife, and say one simple thing to her. Either we need to work on being friends and being a team, or we don't need to be together. Now, I had no desire to get a divorce, to have another relationship fail. I was hoping that what was heard was, let's be a team. But as you know, oftentimes people's hearts will reveal themselves when we least expect it. And all this individual heard was, oh, we don't need to be together. And it was accompanied by a whole lot of other hurtful things that is very difficult for you to come back from. And the one thing I understand about fasting, and any fast that I've ever embarked on, was that got to be careful what you ask for in a fast. Because if you fast the right way, believe me, you are definitely going to have some rude awakenings, some ahas, possibly some hurt, but at the end, you're going to have profound growth. So after we had this discussion, I knew that there was only one decision for me to make. So the next feeling I had was that I just needed to get away so I could process my emotions and my spirit told me to go to Dallas. Now, I had only been to Dallas maybe one or two times on business over the last couple of years. Never really been there just to chill. Dallas is not a chill spot. If I'm a chill, take me to an island or somewhere. So I don't know where this Dallas thing came from, or I didn't know where it came from. But remember, the second part of the ask was, reveal to me those people that are for me. Little did I know, once I arrived in Dallas, I knew that I had a lot of friends from high school, family, business people that lived in Dallas that I was cool with, for lack of a better way of saying this. And those individuals showed me their hearts. These were people that had moved there with their spouses, friends, business associates, but people that I would later need, not realizing the transformation that was about to take place in my life. So while I was in Dallas, I got to process a lot of my emotions, my decisions, what I was going to do, how am I going to traverse through this new territory of now a relationship that was basically dying. And if you've ever been through a breakup, a divorce, or any of this, you know how difficult that is, regardless of the reason. So stayed in Dallas for a couple of days, met with a lot of friends and family, and my position became solidified because I got to see how I could experience being whole and having people that uplifted me and not tear me down. So when I got back to Atlanta, after spending about 3 or 4 days in Dallas, I came home and basically said, I want a divorce. And ended up having to move out. But I knew I still had to take care of this household that I was leaving. We also had a young son together. That was the most difficult part of this, but I knew that in order for me to be a better person or the best version of myself, and even for her to be the best version of herself, we both need to be in environments where we're able to thrive personally, professionally, and spiritually. And I knew that where we were, especially after certain things had transpired and after certain things had been said, that it was very difficult for us to manifest those things together. Because I had seen her heart. She had seen my heart. And we weren't on a growth path. So, luckily I've got friends. Thank God for friends. A friend of mine and his wife, he's like a big brother to me. I called him and said, hey man, I'm getting a divorce. I can't do this anymore. He told me that I could come and stay with them. Now here I am. The previous year, I had received a lot of recognition, had a best-selling book, had been recognized as one of the top advisors in the country. And here we are in 2018, and I'm having to make a decision about where am I going to live. So my friend told me that I could live with them while I figured things out. So I was like, cool. So I went to go move in with them. And I ended up moving into their beautiful, spacious attic. Yeah, I said an attic. I moved from a beautiful home to an attic. But what I found in that attic, and I am appreciative of my friends, was peace. The peace that I needed in order to get to the next level. The peace that I needed in order for Felipe to get back the essence of who he is. And I know that right now, we're in the year 2020, there's a lot of stuff going on, and people don't understand what to do next. How do I get to a place of peace? Because 2020 seems like this crazy year where just everything is going wrong. But for everybody that's saying everything is going wrong, There are a lot of people things are going right. So when I moved into the spacious attic in downtown Atlanta, I ended up filing for a divorce. And when I filed for a divorce, I had another calming experience because I realized that I was doing the right thing. That does not make her a bad person or me a bad person. Sometimes relationships don't work out. So after I filed, after about a month or so, we ended up having a hearing where the judge looked at her brother's income and said, "Hey, it's a lot of money here." These are his words. Put me up under a court order to pay about $9,000 a month, in addition to child support that I had paid for my older two children. I gotta laugh, y'all. So this was before I even got to me. Imagine that. So, small thing to a giant, you know what I'm saying? Let's turn some lemons into lemonade. Here's my lemon. Let me go ahead and turn this thing into some lemonade. Shortly thereafter, I'm always sponsoring stuff for my clients. At this point in time, one of our clients that we had for about 15 years, at the employee appreciation barbecue that they have annually, ended up changing my life. I thought for the bad, but it was actually for the good. I ended up getting called over to China. I was doing some business over in Beijing, and went over there, had a phenomenal time. Made a couple of business deals, and while I was there, I ended up calling home because my mother was watching my then 2-year-old son. And I knew that my mother, she was not a punctual person. She wasn't a tardy person. She was a late person. And I was going through a divorce, and I did not want my mother taking my son home late. I was like, hey. So around 4:30 a.m. in Beijing, which is 4:30 p.m. in Atlanta, or for anybody who's watching from Atlanta, I just want to make sure y'all know what city I was talking about. I called home to my mother, and she didn't sound the same. Now, I'm halfway around the world, and I called her, and she answered the phone like, hello. I said, Mom, hello. I said, Mom, are you okay? Her response was, no, I haven't been able to, she sounded very weak in her voice. I haven't been able to move all day. I haven't eaten anything. I haven't been able to move. And it's 4:30 p.m. And she's watching a 2-year-old. So I asked my mom, I said, where is Jock? That's my son. She ended up basically needing medical attention. And while I was on the phone with her, she made a statement that being halfway around the world, you don't want to hear from anybody that you love. She tells me that if I don't make it, tell everybody that I love them. At that moment, I called my sister, and we coordinated her care from halfway around the world because, of course, there's no flight fast enough to get me back to Atlanta from China to take care of my mom. So thankfully, during that situation, I was able to make sure that my mother was okay because my sister and my niece were taking care of her. Later on that week, around May 23rd, 2018, I'm on my way back to the airport in Beijing, and as I'm leaving, there are American flags, the Chinese flags all up and down the highway. And I get a text message, an email from that same client. The email says that you all can no longer come into our facilities. That client was responsible for 80% of my company's revenue. So not only now am I dealing with this divorce, now I'm dealing with losing a substantial amount of income. At the same time, also having to figure out, because I had representatives that were dependent on that money, I had to figure out, okay, so how are we going to get over this? Like how, but again, limited to lemonade. So I'm at the Beijing airport, board my flight, and the whole time I'm on the flight, I'm like, hey, give me a drink, give me a drink. I need to go to sleep. This is a lot. And remember, I'm up under this crazy court order. So I end up arriving in Atlanta, and my mother had my car also because she was staying in my place. She needed to run some errands and to pick my son up. I called my mom. I had not been able to reach her for the last 3 days when I was out of the country. She didn't answer the phone. She still was not answering her telephone. So I called my sister like, hey, where's our mom? I'm at the airport. I need to ride home. My sister goes, my mother is at my home. And I'm like, wait a minute, she just got to the hospital or whatever was going on. So I ended up calling a friend of mine. She came and picked me up. When I arrived at my home, knock, knock, knock. Knock, knock, knock. Knock, knock, knock. My mother finally opens the door. And for about 2 minutes, she does not recognize who I am. After she gathered herself, and after a series of me going, Mom, it's me, it's me, it's me, Mom, it's me. Then she realized that it was her son. And when she answered the door, the first thing she said was, I did not think that you were coming back for a couple of days. What day is it? She was disoriented. She didn't realize what was going on. Then she goes, I haven't eaten all week. So she lets me into the home, me and my friend. And when I enter my place, there's food all over the floor, trash all over the floor, feces, baby diapers, everything all over the floor. Like somebody had either been violently attacked or somebody had had a seizure or a stroke or something while they were there. So I asked my mom, like, what happened? Are you okay? Like everything? But I immediately recognized that she was not okay. So I ended up having to take my mom to my sisters, and then we took her to the hospital. So now, little did I know that these next couple of days would be very transformational. While I was in Beijing, I found out that my mother had high blood pressure, and she wasn't taking the blood pressure medications. So they lowered her blood pressure. So by them doing that, it ended up dropping her blood pressure to dangerous levels. So on May 24th, we admit my mother to the hospital. And while she's there, she undergoes a series of treatments. My birthday is May 25th. I go there on May 25th, see my mom. That was the last day I heard my mom's voice. Two days later, my mom passes away. So you want to talk about tough. Imagine going through a divorce, losing 80% of your income, being put under a court order that is taking a substantial amount of your income, and then losing the closest person to you, all at the same time, while still having to run a business, still having to function, still having to take care of kids. 2018 was my 2020. So what I had to do during this time was the one thing that I realized: remember the fast. The purpose of the fast was for you to get closer to God, closer to whatever spiritual or higher power that you subscribe to. It's a cleansing experience, so a lot of times, a lot of stuff is going to get removed from you. But I assure you, if you stay the course, that the last thing you're going to be worried about is your final destination, because your life is going to change for the good. So what started to happen was I started being led to people that had their hearts in the right place for Felipe the Revamp Barganier. One of my mentors, who's also a good friend of mine, invited me to lunch. I was like, man, this guy's a very successful businessman. And when we were at lunch, I told him what I was going through. He was like, man, he said, you have no idea how far you are about to go. Now, what you got to remember is they say you are the sum of the 5 people that you hang around. And this is one of the reasons why. This man had gone through multiple situations in his life. And him making that statement, he said, Felipe, you're going through a divorce, losing money, the death of the most important person to most people in their lives outside of their kids or a spouse, all at the same time. Do you realize what's in store for you? Because whether you subscribe to, whether you're a Christian or whatever religion you are, but if you understand the stories of Holy Scripture, and whenever there's an attack that substantial on your life, or there's that much adversity that you go through at one time, as long as you faint not and you do not lose your mind during that process, you are going to go somewhere that you can't even fathom or imagine. But first you got to go through it. So I had another friend of mine. She's a famous public speaker. And same thing. Called her up. Hey, what's going on, sis? Hey. She goes, Felipe, how's everything going? I tell her, hey, mom, divorce, blah, blah, blah. She was like, first off, why are you even worried about that client? You're about to get a client 10 times that size. Again, you are the sum of the 5 people that you hang around. Now, I could have had a bunch of friends that were telling me, man, I don't know what you're going to do. Man, I'm glad it ain't me. How you going to get through this? But now I'm having people pour into me because all these people have gone through things and they realize what was happening. And I also believe in threes. Things happen in my life in threes, probably yours too. So the last person was another, she was an up-and-coming public speaker, but she was getting a lot of work. And she goes, Felipe, you realize that, first of all, everybody looks at you a certain way, and that you have put in a lot of work and blah, blah, blah. And what you need to realize is that you just need to move now. You got all the ingredients. The stuff you thought you lost, you actually gained a lot. You just can't see it right now. So once I started taking this perspective in my life, then all of a sudden, the universe started shifting to me because I love the water. Remember what I said earlier about Dallas? Why am I going to Dallas? I know why. Those same people that were in Dallas, I needed them for emotional support during this journey to where I am now. So, ended up expanding my business down to the Miami area. Met a very influential person down there that had the same name as my mom. So then I started being introduced to barbers. And if anybody knows anything about the name Barbara, Barbara is a very old school name. You don't meet too many little kids. What's your baby's name? Barbara. No. you don't. And before my mom, or after my mom, or even being with my mother, my mother being here on earth, I didn't really know any barbers. Now my CPA's name is Barbara. One of my closest friends' name is Barbara. I just kept meeting barbers. And these women have been instrumental in my life. So I ended up expanding my business down to the Miami area because for me, the beach is a place of peace. It allows me to get centered. So I was able to go down there once or twice a month, work with my clients, and have peace. And because of that, it allowed me to be able to stay sane during what I felt like it was an insane time. So I continued to just follow the signs, and once I worked on my mind, I realized how profound an impact that all of this would have on me if I just kept my mind focused on positive things. So a couple of months goes by. We ended up having another hearing in front of the same judge that put me up under this crazy court order. And I had one of my spiritual moms call me and said, Felipe, son, I need for you to focus on how you want your life to transpire. But more importantly, because I had a lot of anxiety that year, I just want everybody to know, the guy you see right now was stressed out, anxious, any of the the feelings and emotions that you have during those times, I was all of them. I even understand suicide now. But if that's you, don't give up. Don't let the enemy win. So I ended up becoming anxious about this court date because I was behind on these outrageous support payments because I had just lost 80% of my money. 80% of my income was gone, boom, overnight, bamoosh. So, in my mind, I pictured the judge being friendly, being an advocate of mine, being understanding, because there was nothing that I could do about me losing this money. So I ended up going to the court, and the judge looked at the paperwork. Her attorneys were like, hey, he has the capacity to make all this money. Yeah, he has the capacity, but he ain't making it. He doing all right, but he ain't nowhere near where he was. So the judge goes, it looks like a bomb went off in this man's business. This is exactly how he sounds. You know anything about the South? That's exactly how he sounds. And he was like, I can't hold this man in contempt of court because he had no control over this. That's when I started realizing the power of my mind is very important. So from that day forth, I started manifesting things over and over, focusing on the outcome that I wanted. I started getting consulting agreements, which I had never had. Clients paying me insane amounts of money to consult with them for an hour a week. I started picking up clients and revamping my business and changing things to be the way that I needed them to be. I thought I was doing it then, but after all of this, I started to see I wasn't doing anything, and I started realizing that sometimes for relationships, and I was one of those people, we'll shrink ourselves. And I was doing that too much. That's the reason that I had to go through 2018. Because I was not living to my full potential. And if you ask anybody that has known me any length of time, things come to me fast, and the reason for that is because I get tunnel vision on anything that I do. I don't want to go through pain for years. Give me this little pain for this little moment in time, and I will. Okay. But I ain't trying to be in pain for 40 years now. We ain't going through the wilderness. So what I want to tell you is that the year 2020 is a year for you to find and focus on your destiny. What is it that you want to manifest in this year? What is it that you have put on the back burner, that you have let children, spouses, friends, work, relationships, whatever, stop you from doing? This is your time to manifest whatever it is that you want to do. Look at 2020 as your year of setback to make the biggest comeback ever. And you can do it. And what I want to invite you to do on today is to go to FelipeBarganier.com, send me a message, and also check out the Business of Your Mind podcast. And I hope to hear from you. And I hope that this message has inspired you to take massive amounts of action in your life. And if I can do anything to help you, I will. I love you and I appreciate you. This is Felipe, the Revamper Barganier, 2021 is your year of destiny. Let's go.